What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another aircraft maintenance engineering cars exam practice questions. For you guys that are new to my channel, my name is Peter. I am a licensed aircraft maintenance engineer, and I help aircraft maintenance engineer apprentices to pass their cars examination 80% and above. So if you're an aircraft maintenance engineer apprentice that need that type of help, click the link in the description and book a consultation, and let me see how I can help you out. All right, so imagine if you're doing your cars examination and you get a question like this. Right. In cars 202.01, the middle number 0 indicates A, standard, B, advisory material, C, regulation, and D, all of the above. Right. So first of all, like I usually do, let's go through the options and understand what these terms mean. Right. So for every cars, we usually have numbers indicated like this. Right. So let's say we have a number 2021. Right, and this is how cars are usually written, right? So the first number you see indicates the parts. So in cars, we have different type of parts. You have about 7 of them. Part 1 is general provision. Part 2 is indication, registration, and licensing of aircraft. Part 3 is aerodrome and airport. Part 4 is personal licensing and training. Part 5 is airworthiness. And this is something I usually tell people to read and understand. If you're not going to memorize anything, this is something you want to memorize, because when you're doing your examination, you're gonna get a lot of questions on this, right? This is something I usually recommend people to memorize, right? So the first number you see indicates the part you are, right? Maybe part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6, part 7, right? The second number indicates if this cars is a regulation, if it's going to be a regulation, standard, or advisory material, right? And what do they mean by regulation? A regulation tells you must do this. There's no yes or no. There's no option. You must do this, right? I'll give you guys an example. For any aircraft to fly, you need a tail number, right? For you to sign the maintenance release, you need an AME license. Those are regulations. You must do this. The key word, must, right? Standard, on the other hand, tells you how to do something, the procedure, right? For example, like I said, for any aircraft to fly, right, you need a tail number, you need a fin number, you need a registration number, right? Standard will tell you, okay, where do you have to put the number, the measurement of the number, right? For you to get your AME license, you need to go to school. You need to go to school, graduate accreditation. You need to pass your car's examination. You need to fill out your logbook. Those are the procedures of how to get your AME license. So basically, that's what standard stands for. Standard tells you how, right? Basically, the procedure, right? And advisory material, on the other hand, these are non-mandatory materials, right? These are non-mandatory materials that give you guidance on the regulation, right? So basically, advisory materials are like more and more explanation of the regulation, basically, right? But the key one, the most important ones are regulation and standard, right? So the third number indicates a subpart, right? So like I said, the first number is a part. The second one is going to tell you if this is a regulation or an advisory material. The third one is going to be a subpart of your part, right? So for every part, you have different subparts, right? So now let's understand this 203, right? So now let's understand these 203. Before I give you guys, I'm going to put some keywords you got to understand here. So just note 0 is equals to regulation, 2 is equals to standard, and 4 is equals to adversary material. Just know this, and I'm going to explain how this is applicable to this number, right? So like I said, the first number tells you the parts, right? I told you guys part 1 is general provision, part 2 is identification and registration and leasing of aircraft, right? So we know part 2 is going to be identification, registration and leasing of aircraft, right? So basically the first number tells you what part it is. So when you go to the second number, right, the second number tells you, like I said, tells you if it's going to be a regulation, a standard, or adversary material. So whenever you see the second number, right, every time you see 0, know this is going to be a regulation. Every time you see 0 in the middle number, know this is going to be a regulation, right? A regulation, like I said, tells you you must do something. There's no other option. You must do it. If you see number 2 in this middle number, it's going to be a standard. So if you see number 2, let's say for example, the number is 222. I know this is going to be a standard because the middle number is 2, number 2, right? And if you see number 4, right, it's going to be an advisory material, right? So let's say for example, the number is 242-01. I know the middle number is 4, so it's going to be an advisory material, right? And I told you guys the last number is just a subpart. So for every car's part, there are different type of subparts of that car's part, right? And this is something I usually tell you guys to memorize. But from my understanding, and I've studied this a couple of times, I know subparts 2 is aircraft marking and registration, basically, right? So now we know the key function, right? It's key. The first number tells you the part. The second number tells you if this is going to be a regulation, a standard, or an adversary material. If you see number 0 in that middle number, you know it is a regulation. If you see number 2, you know this is a standard. If you see number 4, you know this is an adversary material, right? And the third number is just a subpart of your parts. So now we have a question that says, in cars 202, the middle number 0, so the middle number 0, right, indicates what? A standard, B, adversary material, C, regulation, D, all of the above. From what I explained, and you can see the options here, right? We know if it's number, if it indicates 0, we know this is going to be a regulation. So this is a regulation, right? Well, let's say the question says the cars 222, for example, right? The middle number 2 indicates, we know the middle number 2 is going to be a standard. So if it's 222, the middle number is going to be a standard, right? Guys, this is a common question they can ask you in your car's examination, and this is something I help apprentices with, to give you guys common questions that have been asked on car's examination. And that is because I have done the examination once. I've also helped apprentices who have had similar experience doing this examination, right? So for you guys that are aircraft maintenance engineer apprentices that need help with your car's examination, you need someone to prep you up. You need someone to show you the right way to study, so you guys don't go through the whole page and just study, because it's a lot of pages. It's a lot of pages, but I can show you the key point on where to study. I can show you the common questions that are being asked over and over again as an apprentice on your car's examination. Guys, if you need that type of help, you need someone to show you the right way to study. You need someone to make you pass the examination 80% and above. I have helped apprentices to get 92%, 98%. This is something I can help you out with, right? If you need that type of help, click the link in the description, book a consultation, and let me see how I can help you out, all right? For you guys that are new to my channel and you find my videos informative, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Love you guys.